Now, I don't really think that we're meant to pronounce it shit, but you could pronounce it shit. Sheen, tet, shtit. And they're two very cool cards in the tarot. Now, Crowley likes to think of the Sheen card as representing the replacement for the Last Judgment card. The theory being that the Last Judgment, the destruction of the world by fire, actually occurred in 1904 with the introduction of the new aeon of Horus, and the Stele revealing was the key talisman that opened up that new aeon. And the Strength card that we usually see in most traditional tarot decks, showing a woman holding a lion's mouth apart or trying to hold it closed, has always been, it's nothing too revolutionary. It's always been, even in medieval times, kind of a symbol of the whore of Babylon, the Babylon and the beast. Anyway, so there's the Tet. It is the 20th tarot key and the 11th tarot key. Another reason that Crowley returned to the Tarot of Marseille sequence, because 11 and 20 add up to 31, which may or may not be important to you as today's talk goes on. I'm going to read something to you that I pulled out of The Magic of Aleister Crowley. And it is a continuation of a discussion on Liber 5, Vel Reguli, or Reguli if you want to rhyme it with Svengoolie, being the ritual of the Mark of the Beast, which is a marvelous, awesome, thelematized ritual of the pentagram. And it has the same sort of modular parts to the ritual, including a very, very dramatic spiral dance at the end, where you move diacetyl, but whirl widdershins. And each time you pass the west, you extend the wand to the quarter in question, north, south, east, west. Before me the powers of La. Behind me the powers of Al. On my right hand the power of La to the north. On my left hand the powers of Al, south. Above me the powers of Sht, as you leap into the air. I guess you got to talk pretty fast or jump pretty high. Beneath me the powers of Sht, striking the ground. Within me the powers, in the attitude of Ta erect. About me flames my Father's face, the star of force and fire, and in the column stands his six-rayed splendor. It's a very cool ritual, and it's not a hard one to memorize. But what's going on in the magician's mind is, or at least what Crowley is trying to communicate, it was going through his mind while he was doing all of this. Crowley at least thought we would appreciate an extended comment on it, and I'm going to read you that comment today. And if you have any version of this, there's the section that says the final gesture, and that's the one I just read to you. Here followeth an impression of the ideas implied in the paean. I also am a star in space, unique and self-evident, self-existent. Pardon me. I'm going to start that again. I am a star in space, unique and self-existent, an individual essence incorruptible. I also am one soul. I am identical with all and none. I am in all and all in me. I am apart from all and Lord of all and one with all. I am a God, I very God of very God. I go upon my way to work my will. I have made matter and motion for my mirror. I'm going to say that again. I have made matter and motion for my mirror. I have decreed for my delight that nothingness should figure itself as twain, that I might dream a dance of names and natures, and enjoy the substance of simplicity by watching the wanderings of my shadows. I am not that which is not. I know not that which knows not. I love not that which loves not. For I am love, whereby division dies in delight. I am knowledge, whereby all parts, plunged in the whole, perish and pass into perfection. And I am that I am, the being wherein being is lost in nothing, nor deigns to be but by its will to unfold its nature, its needs to express its perfection in all possibilities. Each phase a partial phantasm, and yet inevitable and absolute. I am omniscient, for naught exists for me unless I know it. I am omnipotent, for naught occurs save by necessity of my soul's expression through my will to be, to do, to suffer, the symbols of itself. I am omnipresent, for naught exists where I am not, who fashioned space as a condition of my consciousness of myself, who am the center of all, and my circumference the frame of mine own fancy. What a line. I'm sorry. Wouldn't you just like to use that when somebody says, "What are you doing here?" My circumference is the frame of my own fancy. Who are you? Well, I'm the center of all, and my circumference is the frame of mine own fancy. I'm sorry, I digress. That was just so fucking good. Okay. I am the all. For all that exists for me is a necessary expression in the thought of some tendency of my nature. And all my thoughts are only the letters of my name. I am the one. For all that I am is not the absolute all, and all my all is mine and not another's mine. Mine who conceive of others like myself in essence truth, yet unlike in expressions and illusions. I am the none, for all that I am is the imperfect image of the perfect. Each partial phantom must perish in the clasp of its counterpart, each form fill itself by finding its equated opposite, and satisfying its need to be the absolute by attainment of annihilation. Now, that is absolutely awesome. And it's, I think, one of Crowley's best mystical statements. I mean, it's Tao Te Ching-ish, it's Mahabharata-ish, it's Bhagavad Gita-ish. It's awesome. And it's worthy of a lifetime of study. It opens up every time you read that part. But then he simply says, the word LAShTAL includes all this. Lon's prepared. LAShTAL. Take a look at that. The Hebrew letter La, Lamed Aleph. It means not. It adds to 31, by the way. And Al is the root word in Hebrew for God. Aleph Lamed. And it adds to 31. And in the middle, we have two Hebrew letters. The Sheen, S, small h, T, which is the 20th key of the tarot and the 11th key of the tarot. And that, looking at it that way, is a 31 too. So 31, 31, 31. LAShTAL is a 93. Well, I'll just keep this up for a while. LA, not. AL, 2. L is justice, the katis fulfilled by the phallus. Katis, K-T-E-I-S, is sort of Greek. I think the word literally means comb, but it's the yoni. Okay. The katis, L is justice. The katis filled by the phallus. Not and 2, because the plus and the minus have united in love under will. That's why she's such a balanced gal there. AL is the fool. Not in thought, Parsifal. The word, Harpocrates. In action, Bacchus. He is the boundless air, the wandering ghost, but with all possible possibilities. He is the knot that the two have made by love under will. That's why I say that the goddess of justice is the girlfriend of the fool, and the fool is the boyfriend. They're both pretty ambiguous, I tell you. Okay, fill in the blanks how you wilt, as long as they cancel each other out. And that's why in the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, we've got 2 cards that are overtly Egyptian in motif, and 2 cards that are ballet themed. And the two ballet themes are the Aleph, A, and the Lamed. And I don't know, this is a digression. But as I was designing these cards, I used transparencies of the outlines of each of the characters, the Fool and the Goddess of Justice. And I made sure that when I designed them, they could superimpose over each other to give us the illusion of a scale. I don't know if you got to use your imagination. But there's the Fool, and she goes down right down the middle of him there. Okay, well, that's a digression, sorry. Okay, where were we? LA, then, represents the ecstasy of Nuit and Hadit, conjoined, lost in love, and making themselves not thereby. Their child is begotten and conceived, but it is in the phase of not also as yet. Okay. Their child is begotten and conceived, but it is in the phase of not also as yet. LA is thus the universe in that phase with its potentialities of manifestation. AL, on the other hand, AL, on the contrary, though, it is essentially identical with LA, showing the Fool manifested through the equilibrium of contraries. The weight is still nothing, but it is expressed as if it were two equal weights in opposite scales. The indicator still points to 0. Did I tell you it was going to be easy? Let's talk some shit. Sht is equally 31 with LA and AL, but it expresses the secret nature which operates the magic or transmutations. Sht is the formula of this particular aeon. Another aeon might have another way of saying 31. Sheen, or SH, is fire as T is force. Conjoined, they express Rahur Kuit. The angel, that's another name for the Aeon card, or the Last Judgment card is also called the angel. The angel represents the stele 666, showing the gods of the Aeon, while strength is a picture of Babylon and the beast, the earthly emissaries of those gods. Strength is another name for lust, okay. Sht is the dynamic equivalent of LA and AL. SH shows the word of the law being triple, as 93 is thrice 31. T shows the formula of magic declared in that word, the lion, the serpent, the sun, courage, and sexual love are indicated by the card. In LA, note that Saturn, or Satan, is exalted in the house of Venus. Why you're saying that? That's because of the Libra. That's because of the Libra thing, okay? That's where we get his train of thought on Saturn. Excuse me. Is exalted in the house of Venus or Astarte, and it is an Aries sign. Thus, L is father-mother, two and not, and the Spirit, Holy Ghost, of their love. It is also not. Love, the Hebrew word for love, is aheba, aleph, hey, bet, hey. a Hebe, which adds to 13. And so does Achad, unity or one. Aleph, who's the fool, who is not, but nonetheless an individual one, who, as such, is not another, yet unconscious of himself until his oneness expresses itself as duality. Any impression or idea is unknowable in itself. It can mean nothing until it is brought into relation with other things. The first step is to distinguish one thought from another. This is the condition of recognizing it. To define it, we must perceive its orientation to all other ideas. The extent of our knowledge of any one thing varies, therefore, with a number of ideas with which we can compare it. Every new fact not only adds to itself, to our universe, but increases the value of what we already possess. In AL, this the, or God, arranges for countenance to behold countenance. It's a Kabbalistic thing in the beginning, countenance beheld not countenance. By establishing itself in equilibrium. Now can you see why we've got the balance cards of ballet as our theme for these two? A, the one not, conceived as L, the two not. This L is the son-daughter, Horus Harpocrates, as the other L was the father-mother Set Isis. Here then is Tetragrammaton once more, but expressed in identical equations in which every term is perfect in itself as a mode of not. And the not here is N-A-U-G-H-T. Okay. Sht supplies the last element, making the word of either 5 or 6 letters according as we regard sht as 1 letter or 2. Thus the word affirms the great work accomplished, 5 equals 6. Constance is tiptoeing into the room. Can you feel her presence? I can.
Scared. I'm in his closet.
Yes. Is moreover a necessary resolution of the apparent opposition of LA and AL. For one could hardly pass to the other without the catalytic action of the third identical expression, whose function should be to transmute them. Is the catalytic converter.
But after 55 years, we haven't really made that work.
We're still working on that one. Shit is the catalytic converter from LA to AL. Such a term must be in itself a mode of not, and its nature cannot encroach upon the perfections of not being, LA or being, AL. It must be purely nothing matter, so as to create matter in motion. Why didn't he just say that at first? Okay. It must be purely nothing matter, hyphenated. It must be purely nothing matter, so as to create matter in motion, which is a function of something. Now, the Kabbalists among us can empathize and sympathize with the ancient Hebrew Kabbalists that were truly trying to wrap to transcend their meat brains to wrap a new comprehension of the forces of creation that now quantum physicists are wrestling with. And your heart goes out to them. And now you can see why they had to talk about these things in almost anthropomorphic terms. Crowley's doing, I'm surprised at how much of this I can follow. And every time I read it, a new little light bulb goes out over my head, or goes on. When dealing with law, it goes off. Okay, I'm almost through here. Okay, I know you've already gone out for coffee. Thus, shit in motion in its double phase, an inertia composed of two opposite currents, and each current is also polarized. SH is heaven and earth, T, male and female. Sht is spirit and matter. One is the word of liberty and love, flashing its light to restore life to the earth. The other is the act by which life claims that love is light and liberty. And these are two in one, the divine letter of silence in speech, whose symbol is the sun in the arms of the moon. And Crowley also calls that the mark of the beast. But SH and T are alike formulae of force and action as opposed to entities. They are not states of existence, but modes of motion. They are verbs, not nouns. SH is the Holy Spirit as the tongue of fire. Now remember the tongue of fire. They're manifest in triplicity. That's why we got the three little tongues there. And as the child of Set Isis, as their logos or word, uttered by their angel. The card is number 20, and 20 is the value of Yod. Yod Vav Dalet is how you spell Yod in full, and that adds to 20. The secret seed of all things, the virgin, the hermit, Mercury, the angel or herald, expressed in full, YVD. It's not a public health question. SH is the spiritual congress of heaven and earth. Whoa, look at that. Oh, sorry, got carried away. But T is the Holy Spirit in action as a roaring lion, or as the old serpent, instead of as an angel of light. The twins of Set Isis, harlot and beast, are busy in that sodomitic and incestuous lust, which is the traditional formula for producing demigods, as in the case of Mary and the dove, Leda and the swan. The card is number 11, the number of magic, AVD, magic light. Aleph is the fool impregnating the woman according to the word of Yod, the angel of the Lord. His sister had seduced her brother, the beast, shaming the son with her sin. She has mastered the lion and enchanted the serpent. Nature is outraged by magic. Man is bestialized and woman defiled. The conjunction produces a monster, and it affirms regression of types. Instead of a man-god conceived of the Spirit of God by a virgin in innocence, we are asked to adore a bastard of a whore and a brute begotten in shamefullest sin and born in the most blasphemous bliss. Anyway, That is a reading of that last section that follows the final gesture of the thelemic ritual of the pentagram Liber 5 Vel Reguli. And I'm sure it has confused most of us, in spots at least. But I also hope it's given us some food for thought. And just as a side benefit, it sort of gives us one more reason to see why Crowley wanted to return to the original Tarot of Marseille sequence that returned the strength card to the 11th position. The Golden Dawn removed it, put it in the 8th position, because it really takes the zodiac out of whack to do it otherwise. But Crowley thought there's a mystical reason why strength was 11. Anyway, until tomorrow. If I promised not to do something like this today, I did today. I hope to see you tomorrow. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love's the law. Love under will.